Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Jenny from the Chopping Block. And tonight I have an amazing person and friend, Amanda Rafel. Rafel.
You got it,
And I just wanted to bring her on for many reasons, but I was really looking forward to having her on tonight to talk about all the amazing things that she does. And it's hard for me to say just one thing that Amanda does. So we're going to touch on a lot of topics tonight, and I can't wait. So I hope you enjoy. So Amanda, I just want to ask you firstly, I know you're an occupational therapist, and I know you've been doing that, traveling within that. And I know you work for Tony Robbins. I actually met you in person at a Tony Robbins event where you were part of his medical team. And I know you have like vast knowledge on that, and you're always trying to help people, whether you're at work or not. So can you talk to me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, Jenny. I just wanted to say that I am so proud of you, girlfriend. It is all about that divine feminine and cultivating it and stepping up into your own. And from the moment that I met you through the Tony Robbins organization and then seeing your transition to getting some fire in your belly from Gary Vee and then just stepping up and making this own, I mean, snaps to that. Like, it is awesome. And I just appreciate
Thank you so much.
And I'm so proud. And I know that this community is better for what you're doing by merging ecosystems and by exploiting that. So thank you, number one. And number two is I started my journey in healthcare well over, oh my gosh, a decade and a half ago when I was 16 years old. I wanted to volunteer, and my parents said I had to go do something where I was going to not just go volunteer and babysit. And so once I ran out of options, I joined the first aid club when I was 16, and I petitioned to become one of the youngest members of our first aid squad. So going after danger and helping out by being on the front lines was something that I like to say I was born with.
Absolutely.
Run away from things, I run towards them. And that kind of just trickled into the theme of my life to this date, which was contribute, grow. And then that's why occupational therapy came about, and then the self-development world and learning about things through Tony Robbins and a bunch of other influencers in that space took me to just volunteering as much of my time as I could possibly have. And then that's, I think, how we met, through volunteering with crewing and stuff with Tony. So
yes, and we also met in Michelle Soro's Facebook Live Challenge group, and you just have the best energy. Like, not only are you serious and you're so articulate and you have so much value to give everybody, but you are hilarious. You really are.
Well, listen, I got to give a big shout out to Stephen Chinnan for that one. For those of you guys who don't know what we're chatting about, Michelle Soro is a fearless warrior and an amazing individual who really knows how to take the microphone from one person to many people. And how she did that was by creating a Facebook Live group. And in it, it's just a place for everybody to do what we're doing and chatting. And I was chatting, and Jenny was chatting, and then I was chatting with Stephen Chinnan, and then somehow I said, hey, I can do karaoke better than you. And he said, I have dance moves that are better than you. Which was a series of us doing Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot, Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson was by far, like, oh my God. I fell in love with you during that.
I mean, you fell in love with me, but the people at my house did not, because I had bought streamers from Amazon because I wanted to do the full effect. I'm a go big or go home person. So I knew we were having a riff off. And not only did I decide that I needed to take the serious cap and put it over here and put on the dancing cap, but I ordered a Michael Jackson outfit from Amazon. I ordered streamers from Amazon. And I went to Party City, and I got the hat, the mask, and the glove, like the single sparkly glove. And so I put streamers on the ceiling. And as I was moonwalking, because it's a live video and everything's happening, I got caught in the streamers. And I almost had...
You did it gracefully, though. I don't think a lot of people even knew, because it was awesome.
So, yeah, that's definitely something. And it is, thank God it is more of a private private moment there where you guys can go check it out by joining Michelle's group. It's an awesome opportunity to get to know yourself and find your inner voice and catch some of those awesome videos. So they're hidden a little bit, but they're there.
And the beautiful part about coming on live video is like, you never know like who you're going to meet or how you get to know people so well. And just from that experience, me and Amanda, you know, we shared a house in Florida, volunteering for Date with Destiny. You know, Amanda was the mom of the group, and we just have a lot of great memories. And yeah, I learned a lot about you, and I learned to love you even more than I did before I met you. So it's been really awesome getting to know you. And you're welcome. And I just want to talk about, so you're also a yoga instructor. So that's also part of wellness. How has that come into your life, and how is that going for you?
Yoga. So yoga means yoga. It's actually two different words, and it means to yoke and to tie together. And I never knew that until I went through my training. So I had my own serious battles. If anybody ever has anything they want to touch base about from the mental health perspective, I've lived it, I've seen it, I've breathed it, I've gone through it, I've grown through it, thanks to Tony Rodriguez and other people in my life that have encouraged me. And yoga is the thing that saved me. I was so stressed and anxious when I was running a floor at a hospital in New Jersey for the neurological ICU. And someone kept saying to me, and I was going through a bad breakup at the time, and someone said to me, go do yoga. And I'm like, yoga? Are you serious? Where you sit and you stretch into a dog position. And I honestly thought it was like a hokey thing that, you know, 95-year-old hippie grandmas did, or these guys that lived in India, let alone fast forward a couple years, I would be one of the people that are in India doing the same thing. And when I went and learned about yoga, it became a release. I started immediately by finding a studio, and I went, and it became my religion. If it was 6 p.m. on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I was there. It didn't matter if there was, you know, I was pushing the button as if I was in Men in Black with that crazy mobile that whatever Will Smith driven through the tunnel and it goes upside down, because no traffic was going to stop me from getting to my class or anything, because I turned my brain off. Mm-hmm. All the noise just quieted, and it allowed me time to just move through my body. And I did heated power flow yoga, which is a quick yoga where you're listening to the instructor and sometimes music as well. And it just distracted me from my everyday. And once I realized that after I had practiced for a year or so, it wasn't just the physical connection that worked or the turning of my mind off, is that I actually worked out more. Can I curse on this show?
Sorry,
I worked out a lot more of my shit on that mat than, honestly, the thousands of dollars in therapy or chats with my girlfriends and guys at different times. Like, it just gave me a place to have a meeting. You know, right now we're like, oh, I have a meeting with this person on Zoom and this person on Skype and this person on a webinar. I had a meeting with myself for almost an hour.
I love that, by the way.
Thank you, love.
Love that. A meeting with myself.
Yeah. And me, you know, one of my favorite teachers, her name is Brittany Bamrick, and she now lives in Florida, not Florida, the other one, different Brittany went to Florida. Brittany Bamrick lives out in California, in San Diego, and she is just such a beautiful soul, and I practice on international retreats with her. So if anybody's interested in doing national or international retreats, you want to go with me?
Yeah.
Also, the other thing is, this can go down so many different rabbit holes. So the other thing is, one of my goals is to have, which I don't really publicize that much, so I'm sharing with you. So now it's going to be a big audacious goal that's shared.
I love you.
Is to have a retreat company and to be doing 4 retreats per year based around mind, body, wellness, and compiling a lot of different elements for your inner soul the soul that everyone sees, and the nutritional aspect that combines the two, and then get the profits from that to create a whole nother sector of 4 times a year give back retreats. And what I mean by that is, when I started out, I started working with people that had traumatic brain injuries and spinal cord injuries, and then did a really deep dive into people who have multiple sclerosis and Parkinson's. And I have a family member with Parkinson's and a best friend's mom who has it. So it's super close to home. And my big long-term goal in that sector of my life is to be able to profit enough from these retreats to then hold retreats complimentary for others of those different illnesses or limitations.
Wow.
I don't want anyone to have, just because you might have some sort of condition that you're living with, I don't believe that there should be any sort of physical limitation from you doing what I do, what you do, what any of us have a good time doing.
100%. It's gorgeous.
So
Thank you
maybe
for sharing that.
You'll be there at the first retreat, and many more to come.
I'd love to be a part of it, help, participate, volunteer, whatever you need. I'm your girl. Victoria's going to let me go in the kitchen with her.
Listen, I told Victoria, she's coming for the ride. If those of you guys who don't know, beautiful soul. She's based out of London, England, and she is not only an amazing cook, but she's an alchemist as well. And you had her on the other day, so you know more than I do.
Yeah, she's as good as they get. Love Victoria. So I wanted to talk. Oh, Dana has a question. Hey, Dana, how are you, love? Your business will be nonprofit, so you could also fundraise for those free ones, right?
Yeah, Dana, Dana is another one from the Tony Robbins world, for those of you guys who don't know. And Dana is a divine goddess warrior. What would you say when you hear Dana's name?
Dana, I just complete love right? For her. She's tough as nails. She's sweet. She's so resilient. Everything about her. Generous, kind, love her. I'm sure there's more. I just can't even put into words right now.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Dana wouldn't mind, is that, Dana has also gone through her own serious battles in her own life, and she actually has a spinal cord injury. And her and I were chatting back in Date with Destiny, and we had just said to each other, how do we work together and how do we do this? So Dana, I'm looking at you, girlfriend, that there's got to be some sort of collaboration. We both know that, and figuring out.
Can I put in maybe what my part could be?
Yeah.
I know Victoria doesn't want to let me in the kitchen, but I'm going to come in the kitchen. I'm going to help you. But I love that we could maybe incorporate the animals, like have like some kind of wildlife, like, I don't know. Because I know
maybe goats, because I'm all about the goats.
Sure. I love it.
My significant other, I'm in an Airbnb right now, and my significant other,
Dad, hey Dad.
Yeah, Dad's not here right now, but I'll tell him he's back. And I didn't honestly think that I was in Tony Robbins. We do something with spiral dynamics, for those of you who are listening and aren't sure what that is. And there's all these different levels. And I've heard you mention that you think that you're green a lot of the time. And I can relate. And I think that it comes out more, the more solitude I have, and the more that I connect with myself. In this Airbnb, I look around, and now I have friends. Not only are there bunnies, there are hawks, but the slugs outside too are now my friends. So we're on a retreat. We'll have to have.
Literally. It's been kind of rainy here sometimes in New York. So like I wake up at the crack of dawn and I go to not the crack of dawn. I'm being a little dramatic. Crack of dawn for me is like 7 o'clock in the morning. But I go to the track and I see the worms like in the middle of the track. And I'm like, at first I'm taking the worms and I'm throwing them back in the field. But I'm like, am I interrupting their journey? Maybe they want to go on the other side of the field. It's like, this is what goes through my crazy mind. Like, I don't want to, and then I'm like, I don't want anyone to squish the worm. But then I'm like, if you squish them, it'll probably survive because it could regenerate itself. It's like, it's crazy. But anyway, I get what you're saying.
Do you follow Sarah Blakely on social media?
I do, but I haven't really seen a lot from her other than like all the interviews she's been doing. And I saw like at, what was it, Business Mastery, everybody who was there was like recording her. So I watched a couple of those live stories and stuff.
So to give her some accolades for being a prominent female entrepreneur, you know, she's someone out there that definitely is a role model for myself because she still owns her business. She didn't sell it off. She didn't give partnership to other people. She is the main person of that. So snaps to my men out there and huge claps to my women out there because the female entrepreneurs, we are strong. We are coming for you. Oh, and Sarah's one of those. And to have a moment of relatability for Sarah is my other half is also obsessed with the idea of getting an RV for, you know, we've transitioned to more remote positions. And so he wants to get an RV, have a place, and then also have an RV to travel. And now he sees that Jesse Eisler and Sarah Blakely, who are these big role models in both of our lives, he gets an RV to take a family trip. And he's like, oh, Jesse got one. We got to get one. Like, really slow down. Like,
we got to model our mentors. We have to model them. Come on.
I know. He's like, come home with a brochure. I'm like, what's going on? He shows me a brochure. He's sending me emails. He's like, we can still keep the Airbnb lifestyle. We'll still have a place. But now it'll be a lot easier for us to drive between where we are and where you live and where my family's from. So I'm just going, okay, I love Sarah Blakely. I love Sarah Blakely. I love Jesse Eisler. And okay, this is going to be interesting. So fast forward is on to Sarah Blakely is an amazing powerhouse, as I mentioned, and she saw a turtle crossing the road when she was with Jesse Eisler. And she videotaped and threw it on her Instagram, and it's hysterical. If you have a couple minutes that you want to take a break from the real world and just kind of zone out, the same exact thing that you're mentioning of, do I move the worm? Do I not move the worm? Do I save the worm? Do I not save the worm? It's a dialogue of her, coming to a moment of, I want to save the turtle.
And you like laugh at yourself because I'm like, am I really thinking about this? Like, am I interrupting its pattern of life it's just fun. It's crazy. But I definitely need to check that out. That sounds amazing.
And it's destiny, right? I mean, and then you think of it like this, because you've been in this Tony world for how many years now?
Excuse me, sorry. I keep saying a year and a half because I'm like, time's just an emotion for me. So, but I realized today it's been almost 2 years. Well, it's been more than 2 years. I'm losing track of time.
Was your first event New York, UPW 2018?
Yes.
Oh, same.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about, right? So you and I were at the same place on many occasions. I'm sure if we sat here and figured it out, that there were so many different moments where you're from Long Island, I'm from New Jersey. I'm one of the co-leaders for the New Jersey Power Team for, Tony Robbins. And so with that, we were in the same place at the same time. How many times before we physically met and then connected and then had sleepovers and snuggles and stayed in the same house for some of the things,
But the minute we met, it's like it was just like, I mean, I'll never forget going, I think it was UPW Miami. And I was like, I had been through some stuff and I was kind of like, should I go? Should I not go? But I need to go. And the minute I got there, and it was a little confusing, like getting around, you like grabbed my hand and just like led the way.
Yeah, that was the first time we really met.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it was so sweet. You like took me right under your wing and showed me the ropes and you were like, all right, you got to go here, you're good. And just made me feel so comfortable.
Oh my God, yes, when you were walking behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to so many events and you're going, wait a second, what's happening? It's funny. And it's that homage back to what virtual can do is anyone who during this time of quarantine, take the idea of fear and please put it in a container and put it on the shelf and let your heart open and lead with that as we get into phase 2, eventually phase 3, where everything opens back up. Like everybody's making these really cool relationships online. Schedule them in real life because it'll change your life. I promise you.
It has changed my life so many times. I just want to acknowledge Dana. She says, do you ever wonder how they got to the middle? They cover the roads here when it rains. I spend hours putting them back in the grass. I love you so much. I don't anymore. I thought the same thing you did. What if I'm interrupting the journey or bird food? It's true. It's true. But yeah, I don't know though. I mean, I think, all right, this is going a little off topic, but I feel that maybe if it feels right, you should throw them back in the grass. Like the one that I saw, somebody had stepped on part of it, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to put them back in the grass because it's going to take them like 10 years to get to the other side.
So then can I share a little quick side story with you?
Yes.
So if you guys are familiar, anyone who's out there familiar with the pier in Miami that you can walk all the way down to after you're on the main strip of South Street, you walk all the way down. It's the pier where all of the boats come in from. So if you guys are down there again, I encourage you to walk down all the way to the pier. It's beautiful, sunset, epic spot. And then if you're at the pier, the beach is going to be facing this way. Walk towards the beach, and on the promenade, there are these lights. And anyone who's been to Miami knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Miami. So much.
And these lights, just stay with me for a moment, when you look at them, they have LED lighting behind them. So they change color, blue, red, orange, green, whatever. And from afar, someone might think it's just a light. And when you walk closer to the light, when you look at it, inside, it almost looks like a ladder going up. Except the rungs on the bottom of the ladder that's encased in this cylindrical light are actually further apart on the first step, and then as you go up in rank, it gets a little bit closer and closer and closer on the bars of the ladder. So this is the first time that I met my other half, and we're walking down this pier, and I'm staring at it, and he's looking at me like, this girl's probably crazy, and I'm not responding because I'm fascinated by this light and thinking, this is a metaphor for life. So we walk towards the light, and I look to the side and the side of the light, and inside the light, the ladder, it's not straight. It's, I don't know if you can see my hand. It's slightly on an angle. And so to me, I said, oh my God, that's exactly how life is. When we want to do something on our own, the first step is always the hardest, the biggest step. And then the step we take after that is not as difficult. And then as you get up and up and up, and you learn more skills and you learn more tools, like if you're a worm, go out in the rain to cross the road, not in the hot sun, you'll boil to death and die. That it's a little bit easier. And the reason why that ladder was tilted is because you get assistance and help from people as you get towards the top when you're climbing.
So beautiful.
So that might be what you were doing with those worms out there, is maybe they needed a little bit of assistance. They got as far as they did, Dana, and you helped them the rest of the way, or Jenny, you were helping scoop them up, and maybe it wasn't, not today, Junior, for the birds. No.
Dana says valid point. So we're all in this together. We're all one, and it's all part of the journey. And then Dana says the Buddhist religion has an actual plant, a worm day, because the belief is every living being was once your mother. Wow.
Yeah, so there's a really cool, I forget the person that I heard this from, so please excuse me on the resource for this one, that when we are born, and if you think of it, if you're a person who believes, do you believe in afterlife or reincarnation or anything like that?
I do.
So this might hit with you, or it may not. It's, keep what you need and leave the rest. Mm-hmm. The idea is that when we're first born on this earth by this, I think it was some sort of religious person, and like I said, I'm sorry about the resource, I can find it later. You are born on this earth as an organism. And if you do well, I think this has to go back to the Indian culture. I could be wrong. If you do well, then during your second time on life, you are a life force, meaning you are something that breathes, a plant, an air, nature, something of that. The next time you're born, if you did well on that life and you served your purpose, you grew and you contributed, then you can be an animal. And then the next thing after that, when you come back in reincarnation, is a human. And then the next one is you transcend. So I think it's really beautiful what Dana said, because if you think of it, prana is life.
Anna, I love that word.
And it's breath. And when we breathe, we get it from the trees. We get it from the oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange that happens with the beautiful growth around us. So whenever anyone feels like they're stuck during this time or any time, you just have to go back to your breath, and then you're alive.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go green here again, but I just love trees. And I just feel that they're so protective and like nurturing. It's like a weird thing. Like I just feel I don't know. I just feel like they're very protective and nurturing. I love trees. I love to ground. So can we talk about, because I know you've been saying your significant other and your other half and all this lovey stuff that I'm loving, because I love you both. Can we talk about your experience and your aspirations for helping people within relationships?
Sure. Wow. So I used to think that going through bad relationships was my superpower, because if there was a guy that had drama, I felt like I chose them to hang out with. Narcissists, alcoholics, liars, cheaters, the list goes on. And I realized that it's because I wasn't whole myself, and I didn't believe that I was worthy or that I was enough. So I kept seeking outwardly of people that may have had some of their own stuff going on in an attempt to help them or to fix them. When that was never the case, it was always about me needing to feel whole myself and getting more clear on my picker. And so in this time when my other half and I connected, it was just really pure, because it came from a place of enhancement rather than codependency or rather than need. And I've done tons of work with Melody Beattie, Louise Hay, and all that good stuff that if anyone has questions about, I'm happy to hold space for. And so him and I want to create a program to help couples out there, whether you're individual, you're in a new relationship, or long term, have your own language. A lot of the times we speak, and either if you're with, a woman with another woman, a man with another man, a woman with a man, they don't hear us because of their own upbringing, of their own exposure in life. And because of that, we can cross over each other and talk over it. So a lot of it, the program we're in the works of building right now, is all about how do you communicate and how do you create your own language, and having fun with it. And then having your own language for sex, having your own language for when you're in public, having your own language for when you're at home, and other things. And we literally have been building it out to tap into those kinky Jaya sides, and also to know how to fight fair and how to come from a loving place. Because when we first got together, it was so much like solo entrepreneurship that it was a lot of clashing in the beginning of a relationship. And now it's turning into teamwork, and it's really cool.
I love that. And I know you're a master and you have a lot of knowledge on feminine energy. Can you share a little bit with the ladies tonight?
Yeah, what do you want to know?
Everything. Or like your baby. How about, I'm going to ask you, what was your biggest takeaway learning about it, and like an epiphany maybe that you've had to bring out more of your femininity?
So, beautiful question. I didn't understand that it was even called femininity until I started learning from Alison Armstrong, because Alison is just such a lovely person. And the way that she was able to really hone in on women as our primal want to nurture and to care for others. so that we want to hold space and gather things and have quotes behind us that make us feel good, and flowers on the table that get illuminated from the sun, and to have all of those little details in perfect place. And she helped me understand that the masculine is really about that hunt, that kill, that provide for the family. And I used to operate from a masculine place because when I was working in the predominantly healthcare industry, it was all a ladder and it was all men on top. And if I thought that if I didn't act a certain way and, you know, have the balls to push the envelope or to run a conversation, then innately I thought that I wasn't having significance and that they wouldn't hear me. And the more that I kept trying to push, the more I realized I'm not getting anywhere, because masculine, it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So when we're feminine and we stay in our divine goddess, we can, you know, be the person that is turning the neck where the man is going yes and down, like that quote from that movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. You know, the man may say up and down, but the woman moves the neck. And so when you're in your femininity, you're in flow. You're not getting harped up so much on what the outcome is and what control is. You're very present to the what is and what's going on with you in that moment. And I had a beautiful conversation with Victoria, who was mentioning things here yesterday. And she helped put in perspective, as well as listening to Jay Shetty and Oprah yesterday, is if you're focused on what's in front of you, that's where the gift is. And if you're focused on the outcome, then we're talking about destiny and everything. It's going to hinder your ability to get there. So when you're trying to step into your feminine, we want to plan because we like to nurture and we like to nest and we like to settle in. That's great. Write it down on paper, ladies. Put it into your manifestations, meditations, and don't bring it to the date that you're going on. When you're going on the date, focus on the now. You know, how you get all juicy and goosey is I dance. Every single day, I downloaded music to my phone. I put on them jams and I wake up to it. And I spend like 5 or 10 minutes dancing. When I'm in a good mood, I dance naked in the mirror, straight up. I check my body out. I check my curves out. I flip my hair, the whole thing. I look in the mirror in my eyes and I do my I am statements. I am beautiful. I'm badass. I'm a goddess. And that energy that I got for finding my divine goddess inside, I have to give a nod to Jen Pearson, and I have to give a nod to Betty Sazella, who's two of my girls that I do the New Jersey Power Team with, because they are warriors. They're also Tony World, and they reminded me that we have to just love the skin we're in. Simple. And when you're in the outward world, find a pair of earrings that makes you feel girly. Throw some lip gloss on. Do your hair in a certain way. You know, Jan, who was interviewed by Tony Rodriguez, has amazing funny tips on how to flirt on dates and be feminine at the same time. And for me, when I'm wearing a piece of jewelry or a shirt or a lipstick, it reminds me that I'm not masculine, I'm not a man, and I can be more dainty and I can take a breath. I can pause. I can elevate my tone. I can wink. I can smile. I can open my posture. Subtle, subtle, subtle things will welcome in the feminine. And know that it's not a rush.
I see. Hi, Erica. I see. Love, 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 Amanda. And that was just so beautifully said. And you embody that. So thank you so much for sharing that with everybody. So I want to ask you, I always like to tie in my passion for food, and I want to hear about maybe if you have a favorite recipe or a favorite food that you could share with us.
I made kick-ass scallops the other day.
Scallops?
Yeah. They're not, what kind of food do you want? You want seafood or you want?
I want your favorite.
My favorite? Oh my gosh. I feel like my favorite food changes like a woman's menstrual cycle. The first week is something hot and spicy, then it turns into savory, then it turns into sweet and salty, depending upon where we are, right?
Absolutely.
So my favorite food, that's really tough. I mean, I love sushi, and if anyone out there knows how to make sushi, let's like you, me, and Jen, let's hook it up and let's go make sushi together. Do a video chat because I'd love to learn how to make sushi. As far as the things that I make, I really love a certain pan-seared salmon that I make. If you want the recipe for that one.
Yum.
So it's a pan-seared salmon. So what I do is I will make my own pesto. So I'll get the pinoli nuts and or pine nuts, whatever people like, and then fresh Parmesan that you have to grate into the Cuisinart with the fresh basil. And then I use avocado oil, and then I actually use a little bit of ghee butter.
Oh.
So it makes the pesto thicker than usual. And then I just take the salmon and I leave the skin on one side. I put the pesto over it. And then not everybody likes to cook with tin foil. So if you don't want to, then just get a cast iron pot that has a top. And I actually put it in the oven. And I'll do it with tin foil around it, and I'll pinch the top of it. So then what happens is the outsides of the salmon get crispy while the inside stays moist.
Mm.
And that's my jam with that one. And then on the side, I'll usually do some Brussels sprouts, and the Brussels are super easy, depending upon how I do them. My favorite ones are if I take a deeper pan on the stove, take the Brussels, cut off all the dead ends, put a little bit of coconut oil in the pan and a little bit of lemon juice in the pan, and then you put the Brussels so they're sitting upright around the whole thing. Take some bacon, chop the bacon, throw the bacon in with it, and cover it. So it just sizzle, and it's here and it's
girl. We need
take that out, and then you got your quick medley. The whole thing takes like 10 to 15 minutes at most, and it's super simple. Yeah, that's now what I'm jamming out for wanting to make tonight. So thank you.
You gotta take a picture and tag Jenny from the chopping block.
Yeah.
Please.
And other thing is, I'll send you my favorite banana bread recipe because that's really good. And I use applesauce in it, so I keep it super moist.
And then I want to also ask you, I know you already have superpowers and you're very spiritual and in tune, but if you got to pick a superpower, what would it be?
These are good questions.
Thanks. I stole that from Damon John, Shark Tank.
My superpower would be, I think that it would have to do with being able to expand my learning and my knowledge ability to have endless amounts. So that when I study something once, it can retain in my mind so that I could keep a Rolodex in my head of information of who I've met, where I've met them, how I've met them, and all of the different, hundreds of programs that I've done and the thousands of books that I've read over the years, so that I could piece together different things and help solve more of the really difficult problems that are out there for people. So
that is amazing.
Learning retention.
I love that so much. You ever see Johnny 5?
Yeah.
When I used to, as a kid, I was like, I wish I could do that. Like when he reads the books and he's like, no. It's like all in his.
I just hold it up and then like where is this one that I have? I didn't know what we were going to talk about, so I brought some books that were with me, and like one of them is Orgasms, How to Have Them, Keep Them Coming, in case you need to reference it.
That's very scandalous. I like it.
I love The Compound Effect is an awesome book for those of you guys who haven't read it, and it's great. It's kind of like Atomic Habits. It teaches you good little tips of how to learn and how to build upon that for faster enhancement in your business. And I would love to just be able to do this and flip through a page and then it's in there and it's understood. So endless learning, sign me up.
we got to give a shout out to Jameson. What's up, kid? We love you too.
Love you, buddy. Are you going to Jameson? Are you going to Dallas?
Oh, yes, he is.
Amazing.
He got approved. I think he has something. Jameson, correct me if I'm wrong. You have something. Your mind is phenomenal, Amanda. You are one of my favorites of all time. Jameson, you have something going on in Vegas beforehand, or you're going to Vegas after? I forget, but he'll definitely be there. It's going to be a family reunion, huh?
I know. For those of you guys who aren't sure, what we're chatting about is now that they're starting to integrate everything back in, they're starting to allow for live events to happen again. And so one of the ones that we all connected through, which was Tony Robbins' UPW, the next one's happening in Dallas. And I know that there's going to be a family reunion.
That's amazing. So Amanda, I also want to talk, because I know you've been pivoting and you've worked a bunch of different jobs, and you adjust and you learn about them and you do, amazing work. I want to talk about your mastermind that you've created and all the success that's brought you.
Thank you so much for that. So can I give you a minute of a background leading up to that?
Give me 5.
Thank you. Well, when I started out my journey as an occupational therapist, and, I got all the way to the end and then almost didn't make it to doing an accelerated program because of I didn't know at the time, but having ADD and all these other limitations that were just blessings in disguise. And because of that, it made me this researcher, like loving knowledge and loving research, that I took a deep dive and I said, I don't want to just learn about one area of occupational therapy and work at a hospital. I need to learn what happens when someone first gets injured and where do they go? They go to the hospital, they go to rehab, they go home, they go to subacute, they go to outpatient, schools, private, everything. So I spent many years deep diving into understanding diagnoses and what happens in the medical field and how I can make that impact. And when I realized I'm making an impact I was making about, I'd say 5,000 people a year on average is how many people I was impacting between yoga and some private coaching, as well as doing consulting and working as an occupational therapist. It wasn't enough. I felt like I was on a hamster wheel, and I felt that I had maxed out and I just needed more. And when I started doing yoga, I found that light. And so it led me through a path of over the past year of really getting away from practicing occupational therapy full time to doing things more on a consultant basis, and then really learning digital and learning about systems and processes. And I've been so blessed that the universe has allowed me to have these connections with people where now I've worked with startup companies, helping create their infrastructure, helping create all of the systems and processes that they're doing. And when I realized, I went to an event recently and saw that when you go to some events, there's an option. Buy up for something else or not when you go to an event. And I said, why aren't we capitalizing on this? Why are we not helping everyone that we possibly can? Because just because someone attends a live event or a virtual event and they don't follow up with an additional purpose, maybe those individuals can do it on their own. And I'm a big proponent for believing that we can go faster, further together. So I started talking to a couple different people, and now we have a team of 5 people and growing. After this week, it'll double in size, where we are having our own mastermind. And we, in a period of 2.5 weeks, we went from 0 to 180 people. And out of 180 people, we have, I found out right before the call, 112 active users and 100 people that are committed to not only being a part of a weekly mastermind, but having daily accountability partners, as well as having a place for networking. So the whole premise behind it is to network, have accountability partners, and be able to learn and implement different business strategies to really hone your greatness and elevate it into your business. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's been going fast, and we're hoping to double in size in the next couple of weeks. And by the time that we're in July, really launch it and pivot into the new sector.
I love it. They're so lucky to have you. And how could people find out more about that?
Yeah, so you guys can easily go to Power to Pivot Now. It's a group on Facebook, and you can just join us there, and then you're going to get an email with information about what we're doing. So it's Power to Pivot Now.
And is it, I know it was a closed group. Is it open to everyone now, or?
Closed. So we are going to keep it as a closed group for the moment, because some people are sharing sensitive information in the group because there's about their business. So it's talking about the highs and the lows of the business. And, people are stuck right now because of what's going on in the world, and others really need help on starting their business. So it's based upon 3 principles of starting, maintaining, and scaling your business. And the whole reason why it's not just myself, Tony Rodriguez is one of the people, Tim Rupel from the community, this other woman, Tammy Gorky, is amazing. And then this other gentleman, Coach Frenchie, who's actually originally a hockey coach, big time hockey from Canada. And he is awesome. And our team is continuing to grow. And between the 5 of us, we are starting a new venture. And listen, it's been an awesome ride so far. And the ability that we're seeing people that are able to get something from everyone. And that's why we have a team that's working with everyone. And it's not just one person, because when they say it takes a village, it takes a freaking village. And we want to be able to have the best resources out there for everyone. And so that's why we have people from different age groups, dynamic backgrounds, ethnicities, and everything, and really have it as an inclusive group. And keeping it private on Facebook right now is allowing us to express our own vulnerabilities as leaders and then also as participants. So that's the only reason why it's closed.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I love that part of you and your mission and your purpose. So thank you for that. And I just want to ask you, I'm trying to think of what we haven't touched on. I guess I just want to ask really if there's anything on your heart that you want to share with everybody, or if there's anything maybe that's helped you through this time.
Which time?
This unique point in history, this whole, you've done a lot in this, these last couple of months, and moved, and you're stepping it more into your passions. If there's any advice you could give us all.
Yeah. So when I first learned about the pandemic and how it was going to hit, I was actually in India. I was there for a friend's wedding and ended up extending it. I did some traveling and I did some inner work as well. And I came home, and I am from New Jersey, and then I flew directly to Florida. And from Florida, I ended up traveling all the way up to Ohio, and I was back in New Jersey for a good portion of it. And then now I'm down in the North Carolina area for a little while. And the biggest thing that's helped me through it is to come from a place of love and come from a place of faith. Because when you operate in a place of fear, it decreases your immune system, as we all know. It decreases your ability to have that creative side come out. And it also makes your world small. And so how I've operated from a place of faith, and what I would recommend for anybody out there to do it, is to break faith down. And we can just go ahead and do it right now. And the first thing of faith is to have fun, for the F.
I love this so much.
Faith for fun. The A is for your affirmations. Every day, spend literally 1 minute. Go in the bathroom when you're brushing your teeth and have an affirmation. I am what? Happy, beautiful, strong. So it's fun. And then we have affirmations. The I is for inspiration. So your daily inspiration. Every single one of you guys out there is on social media. That's how you're watching us. So in a moment to look on Facebook, look on Instagram, look on TikTok for a quote of inspiration. And I dare you to share that with one person.
Beautiful.
To pass it forward.
Mm-hmm.
The T is going to be for time. Take 5. Just like they say, take 5. Take 5 minutes to close your eyes and meditate.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is going to be happy. I know it's fun and happy might sound side to side, but the H in happy is for laughter. Laugh every single day. And if you have faith, then it's going to be a lot easier of a ride.
I love that. I love you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing all your wisdom. I'm definitely going to have you back on because there's just so much more to Amanda and all her knowledge.
Can I ask you a question?
I would love that.
What is the next step for Jenny from the chopping block?
In what respect?
What are we going to do next?
That's a good question. I was thinking about that lately a lot. And it's funny because like during this time, I've stepped into this and I've stepped into a new job. And I just don't want to go back to my old jobs. So I'm trying to figure out a way to monetize and step into more of like putting my passions into a paycheck.
Then you got to join Power to Pivot now, and we'll see what we can stir up together.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
And anybody's welcome, and if you guys aren't finding the group, then just DM me is the easiest way to find me. Just Amanda Rafel, obviously, friend me on Facebook and add me, and you guys are welcome. Just a little thing is, so the power teams, those of you guys who aren't familiar with that, and I'll just wrap up with this if that's okay with you, Jenny.
Yeah, of course.
Is that the power teams that we have, anyone who's been to a self-development course or interested in it, you don't have to be part of the Tony world. We have these power teams, and there are dozens of them nationwide in the States, and there's also ones called the Yes Group that are in Europe, and there's different ones in Australia. And what it is and it's an extension to network with people that are like-minded. Because when we have this growth mindset, some people, I know a lot of people that I'm friends with or I used to be friends with, look at me like I'm crazy, where they're like, what are you doing at home on a Friday night? And I'm like, I'm reading, I'm meditating,
literally twins.
Yeah.
Friday? No, Saturday.
A warrior. And they're like, what is she doing? She's in the bathroom. Is she going to the bathroom? Is she okay? Is she having a stroke? What's happening? And we need to connect. And so the power teams are a place where monthly, before this whole pandemic, you could come and you could hear different speakers speak. We have brilliant guys. We had Joseph McLennan, we had Master Co for the bigger guys. We had David Allen, who's a guy that's from Baltimore, who's brilliant with relationships. Joseph Varghese is a guy who runs one of the New York power teams. And it's a compilation of people that are forward leaders, growth mindset, who want to connect. And we said, what the heck are we going to do during the pandemic? People can't meet up and they need to have a place to talk. So every single Friday, we actually have a social. And it is every Friday, Eastern time. Anyone is welcome. This is the quickest way to find me, to be honest, even easier than Power to Pivot Now. Both are great. Power teams, Power to Pivot Now. We got the power. And so,
got the power.
It's every Friday night, and just so you guys know, on Friday nights, it's the power teams unite, and it's celebrations. It's a place for support. It's a place for networking. It is from 8 p.m. Eastern to 9:30 Eastern. We did that at that time to attempt to accommodate for the rest of the United States, not to disregard anyone that's outside the U.S., just because we ended up having 8 different power teams from around the states that came together. And on any given night, we might have 40 people or we might have over 100 people. So come and join the party. We'll be there this Friday. So you're only 5 days away from Fantastic Fabulous Friday. And we'll put the 2 links of where you guys can join in the bio of this, Jenny, if that's cool with you, and people can follow that way.
Sounds good. I'm excited. All right, Amanda. Well, thank you so much for joining again. And I just can't wait to make more memories with you and see how our beautiful lives turn out And I know I'll always be rooting you on, and I trust that you will be rooting me on as well.
I know. I mean, this isn't a see you later. This is I'll talk to you tomorrow. So
I'll talk to you in a minute because I'm taking you backstage, girl.
and seriously, for anybody that's out there, you know, you're not alone. And when you're in a house, when you're inside for so long, you might be there with a big family of 5, 10, 15 people, or you might physically be alone. You could still feel alone if you're in a house full of people. Mm-hmm. And you could be not feeling alone when you're physically alone. And just know that we're here for you.
That's really interesting you say that. I've felt like that in the past. Like, especially like in high school, I always used to say that because I had like, you know, I was kind of popular. I had a ton of friends, but that's when the shit gets real, when you feel alone in that. That's really powerful. I've never heard anyone else say that before. Understand that.
Yeah, and it goes back to feeling like Jason Cisneros has a show, and it's called The Misfits. I think it's Misfit Nation, to be honest. And it's, the premise is like, I used to feel like an outcast all the time in high school, and I was one of the popular kids, like BS the title, and I got bullied. You know, it's always back and forth. So if we strip the label and, you know, we just think about it of a place as, we all just want to be loved. We all just want to be seen. We all just want to be heard. And when you feel like you're not alone, when you feel like you are alone, realize that you're only one phone call or one text message away from not being alone. And you're welcome to reach out, you know, shoot me a message on Facebook Messenger. You guys are welcome to join the New Jersey Power Team for updates and a place to network. You don't have to be in New Jersey. You guys are welcome to come on board, and we'll make sure you guys have the links in the bio of this video, so you know how to reach us through Power to Pivot Now or through the New Jersey Power Team, and we'll go from there.
Love it. All right, guys. Well, I hope you had a good time with us, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. So have a great night. I trust you, and I trust that and hope that you had an amazing weekend. I know I did. And I love you all. Have a good night.
Ciao.
Ciao.